Welcome to our show. I'm Susan Gaeta, and we're so glad that you're here with us to celebrate the life of our Nona. Nona means grandmother, and Flori was an honorary Nona to many people. As our Nona, she taught us a continuing Sephardic tradition in Ladino or Judeo-Espanol, which we will now share with you. Some of you may continue the tradition by listening to her songs and sharing them in your communities, because continuing the tradition was the thing that Flori cared about most.
And we've created this program to share her story with you. We hope you enjoy it.
Arrogamos al Dios, el Dios de nuestros padres, Abraham, Isaac y Jacob, que nos dé vida saludosa a todos mis queridos y al mundo entero. Con estas candelas arrogamos al Dios, el Dios de nuestras madres de Israel, Sara, Rivka, Lea y Rachel, que nos dé paz y amor a todos mis queridos y al mundo entero. Amén. Cada noche di Shabbat mi ricordo di mi nonna con la luz de las candelas maldando sus virajas. Las noches de invierno asentada en el minder, mus cantaba las canticas y las lindas consejicas de amor. Mi dormía con su Shema, mus cantaba las canticas y las lindas consejicas y las lindas consejicas de cantava las canticas y las lindas consejicas y las lindas consejicas de amor. Cada noche di Shabbat mi ricordo di mia nonna.
There's something about a song. My Nona would say, se não podes meter la alma, no cantes. If you cannot put your soul and feeling in your song, alma, don't bother singing. Our ancestors, they were the Spanish Jews. You carry that love subconsciously. It's in you. Everything that was Spanish, to us it was Jewish. And that is a connection with the beauty of so many beautiful pieces of poetry about the mother that we will never forget you. Even if you send us out from your chest, we still love you.
Ti España bien querida, nosotros madre te amamos, y mientras toda nuestra vida tu dulce lengua no dejamos. A ti España bien querida, nosotros madre te amamos, y mientras toda nuestra vida tu dulce lengua no dejamos. Anque tu mos desideraste e de tu seno no estancamos de amarte. Anque tu mos desideraste e de tu seno no estancamos de amarte.
There were Jews in Spain from Roman times, and possibly much earlier. Their communities sometimes flourished and sometimes suffered horrific treatment, forced conversions, massacres, confiscation of property, and more, both under Muslim and Christian rule. But they persisted and always considered Spain their home. The Alhambra Decree, issued by Isabella and Ferdinand on March 31st, 1492, was the culmination of centuries of anti-Semitism, expelling all of Spain's Jews except for those who chose conversion to Christianity. André Bernaldez, a Spanish monk who witnessed the expulsion, wrote the following account. They were abandoning the land where they were born, small and large, young and old, on foot, atop mules, or dragged by wagons. Each one followed his own route toward the chosen port of departure. They stopped by the side of the road, some collapsing from exhaustion, others sick, others dying. There was not a person alive who could not have pity for these unfortunate people. Everywhere along the road they were begged to receive baptism, but the rabbis told them to refuse, while urging the women to sing and play tambourines to keep their spirits up.
I had that Sephardic Nona. She had the strength that was put to her by her Nona, or a biz Nona, to continue the heritage that we brought from Spain. This was the life of the Inquisition, that they had a little time to know what to do. A family was broken. The grandfather's too sick to walk. The grandmother was, she was crying. What shall I do with this? I have to take this. No, I have to take. No, Mom, we cannot carry this. It's too heavy. And people who did not want to go, because this was the home of their ancestors, something you want to cling to. And I think maybe this is the reason. This is 5 centuries later. I'm sitting here talking to you, and we're still here. I'm singing the songs. I'm teaching my grandchildren and my children.
There is a legend that when the Jews left Spain, they took the keys from their homes with them so that they could possibly return someday with hopes of returning. Flori wrote a very important song called La Llave de España, the key from Spain. ¿Dónde está la llave? Where is the key? Que estaba en cajón, that was in the drawer. Mis nonus la truxeron, my grandparents brought it, con mucho dolor, with much pain, y mucho amor. Sueños de España, dreams of Spain. ¿Dónde está la llave que estaba en cajón? ¿Dónde está la llave que estaba en cajón? Mis nonus la truxeron con grande dolor de su casa de España, de España. De su casa de España, de España. Sueños de España. Sueños de España. ¿Dónde está la llave que estaba en cajón? Mis nonos la truxeron con grande amor. Dijeron a los fillos, esto es el corazón de nuestra casa de España, de España. Nuestra casa de España, de España. Sueños de España. Sueños de España.
Every one of these little towns had a Sefardi community. We were Bosnians. We spoke a perfect Serbo-Croatian. We lived in Muslims. We lived the Greek Orthodox. Very friendly. I remember going to a neighbor, Muslim neighbor, for their holidays. They would come to our Rosh Hashanah. Every tia would give a holiday dinner. So it was always somebody's house. And believe me, the houses were tiny. But the fun of being at Tia Luna's house and Tia Mazalta's house, that was the fun of the holiday. I never met my father. Things were not explained. Rosa, my mother, she was a little different than other girls. She wanted to live in a big city. Mijael Cabillo asked for her hand, and more or less, he did mention that he did not need dowry, that he can take care of her, because they're going to a big city of Zagreb. Oh, she heard that, dying to do it. And they moved to Zagreb. Mijael Cabillo, he didn't show too much interest to the little girl. He was very interested in Rosa, my mother. But he took me as part of the deal, you know. She's here, and make the best out of it, but didn't talk to me too much. That bothered my mother a lot. So she mentioned to him that I'm dying one day to own a harmonica. So I come out of school and I see Mijael standing in the corner. Very new to me. I know the guy didn't care too much. He comes with a big smile. He says, "We're going somewhere." There's a music store. We come in and I see 5 harmonicas. He says to me, "Which one do you want?" So I said, "Like that Honor." He says to me, "It's yours." I'll never forget that. That moment, I loved Mijael Cabillo. I just loved him. My teacher, her name was Ida. She was one of the best, the closest people in my life, beside Nona. When she played the first song for me, I said, "Let me hear that again. You play it for me." I would learn it by ear. And I would repeat it right away, and she would look at me and say, "I've never had students like that." We're very close. One morning, I'm still in bed, I hear this big noise. And boom, 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 boom. I look through the window, I see a scene like a serpent, like a snake. That was German that came into Zagreb. The next day, they call you, come to this station, get your badges. Židov, a Jew. Put it on. The day that we put our badges on, my lesson was always after 6 because Ida worked during the day. She opens the door and all she sees, she looks at me. You can't be one of them. I mean, just like that, in Serbo-Croatian. Go home. I sat down in a streetcar with a very fat lady. And she sat next to me, and she saw me cry, and she put her hand around my shoulders and cried with me.
Welcome to German Army. Free from Zionist tyranny.
The next thing, these are the only streets you can walk. Every day, something new. My father is pale, I mean, looking horrible. Till one day, he comes home running, again, blue. He said, we have to get out of here. We have to go. He says, we're going to split. My friend Finzi is sending us tickets, non-Jewish names. And that is how we would run away as non-Jews. You take nothing, just what you're wearing and your harmonica. He said, you are going alone. We're not going to, it's too dangerous, all 3 of us with badges.
Tickets! Tickets! Have your tickets ready!
I was on a train. And you know, trains in Europe, the compartments, I think you could put 8 people in the compartment, something like this, filled in with women, babushkas, soldiers, wartime.
Tata mi kaže, nemoj govoriti, samo sviraj harmoniku, sviraj harmoniku i pjesme pjevaj. Tata mi kaže, nemoj govoriti, samo sviraj harmoniku, sviraj harmoniku i pjesme pjevaj. Ne znam zašto bježim, pa šta sam učinila. Ja samo sviram harmoniku, sviram harmoniku i pjesme pjevam. Moja mila majka sama je ostala, a ja sviram harmoniku, sviram harmoniku suze li.
And I started playing my harmonica. I played it for 4 hours. Just play. People hear harmonica, they all came into the compartment. They love it. They love music over there. They sang. We had a party. The conductor came in. He sat down and he started singing. Saved my life. Didn't even ask me for my ticket. Didn't even bother with the ticket. A little girl who plays harmonica, huh?
Jedne tiche majske noći, ti si rekla da ćeš doći na prve randevum, o Marijana, slatka mila Marijana, ja ću te čekati dok svane dan, o Marijana, slatka mila Marijana, ja ću te čekati dok svane dan.
I was going to station daily, sitting there and waiting. After 2.5 weeks, I see my father coming down, double inside of what happened. He can't get fat in 2 weeks like that. He had all his suits on, so he had something to wear all the time. And we started our life in Split, which is a pretty city, pretty port, beautiful.
Citywide edict. Separate the Jews. Identification banned.
There was an announcement that all the Jews who came, there's no room in Split for everybody, we'll put you on islands. They were very kind because they were supposed to send us to Germany. So we were very lucky. And our name was that we're going to island of Korčula. For us, the teenagers, it was a good time. No school. Go swimming every day. All the time on the beach. I became an island accordionist and taught accordion. It made me alive. 250 of us were interned in Korčula. It was a life of needing things and not being able to buy, even if you had the money. So this woman, if I taught her daughter harmonica, she will give you her ration of food and bread. So that is how we more or less survived. And I always say my harmonica saved me. One day they told us the Germans are coming to Korčula. The Jews got scared to death. We had a leader, Levi, and he got us all together. We have to leave. We all left on these fish boats toward Italy, crossing the Adriatic Sea. That was very scary. Bari became a big place full of refugees. But coming to Bari, that alone gave me a feeling of freedom, Seeing these people giving me grapes, waiting for me, and I'm hungry. You never forget that. There's no jobs during the war. You go from office to office to office, and just, what can you do? You lie. First you say you're a typist. Come tomorrow and we'll talk. You go tomorrow, and Captain Evans I worked for, he said he has one of those old-looking machines, and I start doing this. And he puts his hand around my shoulder, and he says, Florissa, I have a better job for you. He sits me down, he said, we are a salvage depot. We get all the salvage from the planes that fell. We sell that to the local people. You are going to be in this office, and the man who comes, a sergeant, comes in with the report. And one of these days, as I remember, this very, very giggly and happy-looking master sergeant comes in, and all the girls are in love with him because he's very, what word could you use? Not giggly, but a beautiful word of a man who just women fall in love with because he's just open there. And that was Harry Jagoda.
I fell in love with those eyes and the beautiful nose.
When did you fall in love with me?
First time I saw you.
That's your answer.
There was a lot of guys after her. I had to do some extras to get into the front of the line.
All the girls were started combing their hair and getting all excited because Sergeant Jagoda was coming. They were crazy about Sergeant Jagoda. So I'm telling them now.
So I go up to her and I said, excuse me, would you like to go to the dance tonight with me?
When you came to pick me up, you saw Siddur, a Jewish prayer book on the table. That did it. We finally decided to get married. You know, this is war. You want to get married. There's no fabric. What do you make a dress out of to get married in? I'll be right back. That was Harry Jagoda. I'll be right back. He comes back with a bundle like this of parachute. The whole street had parachute dresses. The whole street, because there is so much fabric. And I had my wedding dress, and we had an unbelievable wedding. After the wedding, the main question was, when do I go to America? The day came that big ship arrived. Once everybody was up, I'm talking about 300 war brides, Italian war brides. Emotion up to the sky. Every evening after dinner, I would come out with my harmonica and just play.
Cuando veas mi
madre nueva, llamando madre nueva.
The first couple of years, having babies, busy, you don't think too much. I went through some unusual times when I couldn't sleep. I couldn't sleep, and I would see my family all the time, scenes of my cousins and aunts and Nona, naturally. I was telling this to my husband, and he says, he already had it with this. Let's go back and see the houses and everything you're seeing, and see it for you. Let's go back. And we did. We walked and walked and walked, and all the houses that I went to were empty. And we went by foot up the hill to a farmer's place. Farmer said, we bought this in '56. One morning, pigs were at the door with human bones in their mouth. And he said, I knew something, I have to see the way the animals were running down. So we ran down a hill to a beautiful little arbolico tree, a little tree. And he said, it rained 5 days, the water came up, and there were bodies. They threw your whole family, and that's where they are. And I stood there and I said, hey, all of them are here. They're gone. There's nobody in Vlasenica. There is no Jew left in Vlasenica. This is 5 centuries later. It took 5 centuries to use that word, continue. Continue. And all of them are gone.
¿Cuántos años me cabe aspirar? Las penas de la guerra olvidar. Olvidar, olvidar, penas olvidar. Olvidar, olvidar, penas olvidar. Penas olvidar. ¿Cuántas veces podemos viajar en las tierras ajenas? Paz, tu paz, paz, tu paz, paz, tu paz, penas olvidar. Paz to par, paz to par, penas olvidar. Penas olvidar.
There's something about a song. My Nona would say, se não podes meter la alma, no cantes. If you cannot put your soul and feeling in your song, alma, don't bother singing. And that is what most of the songs that I have written are a little bit too emotional sometimes. But that's it. That's what happened.
What did happen? How did Flori become known? Her parents survived the Holocaust and joined her in America a few years after the war ended. Her mother so broken-hearted that she couldn't bear to sing Sephardic songs or even speak a word of Ladino. So for the next 3 decades, Flori raised her family and played folk music for fun with a local group called the Swappers. But soon after her parents died in the mid-70s, when she was in her early 50s, Flori found herself writing Ladino songs about growing up in Vlasnica. Ocho Candelicas came first in 1978, and she gave a celebration concert with her family that was written up by the Washington Post. More local concerts followed, and soon they were touring nationally and then internationally. Over the next 30 years, Flori had an amazing career. She became known as the keeper of the flame of Sephardic music, a goodwill ambassador who performed at festivals and ceremonies all over the world.
Flori received many awards for her music from religious institutions, museums, libraries, and cultural organizations, even from the U.S. Congress. And in 2002, she was chosen a National Heritage Fellow by the National Endowment for the Arts because of the millions of people all over the world whom she touched with her performances, recordings, and her amazing compositions.
What do you do with this song?
And Flori did everything she could to help Sephardic culture continue by being a generous mentor to anyone who came to her for help, both informally and as a master teacher for the Virginia Humanities. the Folk Life Apprenticeship Program. I was her first apprentice in 2002, and now I am a master artist, teaching others. Meet my apprentice, Gina Sobel. Buena semana, mos del Dios. Buena semana, mos del Dios. Buena semana, mos del Dios. Salud y vida. 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 But Flori is most remembered for a song that is sung all over the world, Ocho Candelicas.
Now, who's going to sing next?
Any volunteers?
Well, there are people out there. So we're through with this part of the program, and we wondered if people had any questions.
Please put your questions in the chat if you have questions. We will be happy to answer. We have several thank yous and wonderful, fantastic presentation, etc.
Great.
Wonderful.
Worked good.
And a request for more music.
We have some very nice CDs.
We did add the website.
Thank you.
So you're getting a muchas gracias from Uruguay.
Wow.
Ay,
Ah,
fantastico.
Okay.
Placer.
So there's a question, whatever happened to her accordion?
Well, that's a very good question, and it's an interesting story. She brought it with her. It stood on a shelf in her studio for many, many years. We would go and rehearse with her, and her original accordion was on a shelf. Now, the Master Apprenticeship Program with Virginia Humanities is where master artists who have very special skills take on an apprentice. There was a master artist who was an accordion restorer and player. So John Lohman, who was the director at the time of Virginia Humanities, was able to get her accordion, unbeknownst to her, and have this accordion restorer player repair it, and they presented it to her as a surprise. There's a video on Virginia Humanities about her receiving her accordion restored that you can go look at.
Yeah.
Virginia Humanities.
There's another question. Are any of you of Sephardic background, or are you just interested in the music and the culture?
We wish we were, but we're Sephardic by inclination.
We have Sephardic souls, I think. There's a
think
deep
so.
connection.
No, we're all
Ashkenazi.
Yes.
But once Flori takes you into the family,
Yes.
then you become an honorary Sephardic person.
Right. So, Flori announced when I first knew her that she was now my Nona, and with all the rights and privileges, yes,
Thereof.
and responsibilities thereof. Yeah.
We will be happy to hear that somebody asked the question, are Flori's children in music as well, besides you?
It's nice.
Well, yes. So she had 4 children. The eldest is a doctor, and as far as I know, he was not part of the family band. But
Couldn't carry a tune.
But the other 3, Elliot, Betty, and Lori, were part of the family band. Elliot passed away a few years ago. Betty and Lori still sing occasionally. And
They have
Betty
other
has
professions, yeah.
Betty has performed with us, and one of Lori's children, Ariel, is a very good musician, very good singer, and you saw a glimpse of her in one of the pictures. So yes, they are musical, but they have other professions.
Yes.
And you'll be happy to know that at least one person said that she will be discussing the story of the expulsion of Sephardic Jewry and Flori's life at her Seder this Saturday night.
Very nice.
Great.
Have you ever performed in Argentina is the question.
Well, I lived in Buenos Aires for 8 years, but it was before I met Flori. So the performing I did there was mostly Argentine folk music and jazz. So we have not yet gotten back to Argentina. We'd love to do that.
Yep.
That would be a wonderful country to tour. I had a very good experience there, and it would be nice to get back. But no, we have not yet.
If anybody
performed.
has any suggestions.
Yeah, let us know.
Are there any other questions? Well, thank you so much to the 3 of you. This was an amazing program. And thank you to all of you who have been attending our e-festival. I hope you have the date in your calendar for the next one in June. And please enjoy the 49 steps, which you will start receiving in your mailbox as of next week. Thank you so much. We really appreciate this program. It was beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.